Welcome into Brewers Daily. I'm your host, Dave Gasper. Lots to get to on the show today as we have reached a Friday here. We are coming up on the weekend, and the next time we do a show after this, we are going to be at the winter meetings down there in Orlando, and there's going to be a ton of activity going on across Major League Baseball. So, things have really been heating up. We're seeing a trade in the division that just happened. The Pittsburgh Pirates and the Boston Red Sox made a 5-player trade. Sending out some pitching. Johan Oviedo, the big name included there, getting shipped out from Pittsburgh to Boston. So Boston addressing their rotation, and they're doing it without Freddy Peralta. And he's been someone who's been thought about as a potential trade candidate. We got that to get into here. Also got some new uniforms for the Brewers to dig into as well. Those just dropped here recently. And Dave Roberts had some interesting comments about MLB finances, about the economics of Major League Baseball, and I think Brewers fans might actually want to hear what he has to say. Plus, maybe a free agent reunion that we could see the Brewers be making here. But we got to start with Freddy Peralta because that is the main storyline of this Brewers offseason, whether the Brewers will keep him or trade him as he's entering his final year of team control. And the Brewers president of baseball operations, Matt Arnold, he spoke to Adam McCalvy of MLB.com recently about that situation. So, he was able to shed some light here because, in the past couple of days here, we saw the report that the Brewers are considering cracking the door open on Peralta trade talks, that they're becoming more open, more receptive to the idea of trading Freddy Peralta this offseason. And then Matt Arnold speaks with Adam McCalvy, and what does he say? Matt Arnold says, quote, "I'm not sure that there's a scenario that's been presented that would make any sense for us. We obviously get hits on him all the time. He's a very popular target, certainly, but he's also a huge part of our team, and we want to be competitive in 2026. A big part of this is bringing back the core that we had last year." All right, end quote right there. That is as close to shutting the door on a Peralta trade as you can get. From Matt Arnold. I mean, that's pretty clear that they're not really looking at. There's nothing that's catching their eye. Now, granted, that is right now, and that is subject to change. Just because no one's presenting anything at the moment that's drawing their interest or that would make any sense for them doesn't mean that that's not possible to change down the line. But nothing at the moment is even coming close to catching the Brewers' interest to make them think, hey, you know what, that might be a good idea. Maybe we should pull the trigger on this. There's nothing close to that right now, according to Matt Arnold. So I would highly anticipate Freddy Peralta being on this team for the foreseeable future. Now, again, this can change as the offseason goes along. When we see some of these other starting pitchers start to go off the board, when we see Framber Valdez sign, when we see other starting pitching trade targets get traded. And, everyone's looking for starting pitching. They always are. But when there are teams that are really desperately, really strongly looking for starting pitching and they miss out on all those top targets, they may end up getting desperate and they may end up circling back to the Brewers and upping their offer to provide something that the Brewers are actually interested in making a deal for. So, again, that's always a possibility to happen as the offseason goes on here. But as of right now, Matt Arnold says that there's nothing even close. And so as the winter meetings go by here this next week, I'm not anticipating Freddy Peralta being on the move at these winter meetings. So, I mean, that's fantastic because I think the Brewers should keep Freddy Peralta heading into next year. Matt Arnold's able to provide some great insight here as well. Also asked about the payroll rumor about the Brewers being concerned about that again, and Matt Arnold said, no, it's always something that we have to be cognizant of, but we have incredible support from our ownership and fans, and so Matt Arnold also not any extra concern about the payroll this year. He has not been under any direction to cut payroll. So that's a big part of it as well. He's under no mandate to do that. And he, quote, certainly could keep the roster as is going into 2026. So any concern about, payroll being a problem or the Brewers have to trade Freddy because of, it's going to cost too much, blah, 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 whatever else, that's not the case per Matt Arnold. So there you have it. That is, I think, very reassuring for Brewers fans as well as we head into the winter meetings. And so what could the Brewers do as the winter meetings get going here? And one thing that sticks out to me, now I know this is not going to be flashy, this is not going to be splashy, it's not going to be something that's going to be like, oh my God, the Brewers won the winter meetings. It's not going to be anything like that. But a free agent reunion that I think maybe we could see is Jordan Montgomery coming back to the Brewers, because Adam McCalvy also detailed in his piece here about how pitching depth is another area of need. Not that they don't already have a ton of starting pitchers. First of all, you can never have enough. And the Brewers always kind of like to add around the fringes, guys that can make, comebacks, kind of resurrect their career a little bit, because the Brewers do have such a great pitching development program. I mean, working with Chris Hook has done wonders for a lot of pitchers' careers. So one guy that I think would make a ton of sense for the Brewers is Jordan Montgomery. Now, they brought him in from Arizona at the trade deadline. He already underwent Tommy John surgery, so, I mean, he was not pitching for the Brewers at all, never put on a uniform. He showed up in town once to kind of, meet the team, meet the guys, but, he never got a jersey number. He never went out on the field, never threw a bullpen for him. He was just kind of rehabbing, wanted to meet the guys and kind of be in town for a little bit here. That was it. That was really kind of all we saw of him. But the Brewers were checking in on Montgomery regularly during his rehab. He's someone who I think stuff-wise, he kind of fits what the Brewers like to do and what they like to bring in when it comes to pitchers. And so now that he's coming off Tommy John surgery and he should be back and ready to pitch this year. Now, granted, he was getting $22 million this past season. The Brewers did not pay all of that. But still, the Diamondbacks desperately wanted to get rid of him. They threw him in the trade at the trade deadline to get Shelby Miller as well. And just being able to offset that salary, the Brewers basically gave up nothing when it came to prospects capital. I mean, they're just like, hey, look, if you don't want to give us anything, we'll just throw in Jordan Montgomery. Just take him off our hands, get him out of here, and we'll call it an even trade. And Brewers like, okay, sweet. So they bring in Jordan Montgomery, and he doesn't pitch for him, but the Brewers check in on him regularly. And now that he's ready to pitch again, I think it makes a ton of sense for the Brewers to sign Jordan Montgomery to probably a minor league deal, and just kind of have him in Nashville, rehab as much as he needs, to get himself back on track, do whatever work they got to do, the adjustments they got to make, because he struggled out there in Arizona. There's no doubt about it. Part of it was the fact that he missed pretty much all of spring training that first year that he was down there. But I think he's someone that would make a ton of sense for the Brewers to sign back and put him on a minor league deal and just see what he has. Because you do have a lot of young kids for this rotation that you think will work out, that you hope will work out. But if they don't, or if they get injured or whatever it is, you can turn to a veteran arm like a Jordan Montgomery, who has a pretty high ceiling. I mean, he signed a pretty good contract to begin with. They didn't do that because he was bad. He was bad when he got there, and Ken Kendrick out there in Arizona wanted to get rid of him. But I think Jordan Montgomery could make a ton of sense for the Brewers to return on a minor league deal. We'll see if maybe that happens here at the trade deadline. I think his hope is certainly a major league deal. Maybe the Brewers do that, but probably not. I think he might end up having to, wait a little bit longer for that. But hey, if someone's out there that's willing to give him a major league deal off the bat, I think he can certainly look to take that. But if he's coming back to the Brewers, I think a minor league deal is what makes the most sense for him. So that's just an idea I just want to throw out there, because that is a spot they like to kind of add on the margins just to see what they can get from some of these guys, like Bruce Zimmerman last year. You sign him to a minor league deal, you have him in AAA, and if anything really goes wrong, you can call him up if you need to. And the Brewers did for like one game, and then out the door he goes. So I think something similar in that vein could make a ton of sense for the Brewers and Montgomery. And Okay, so now I want to get to really kind of one of the things that the Brewers really dropped here, and that was the new powder blue jerseys. Now I thought these were going to be City Connects because those rotate every couple of years, and the Brewers are due for new ones. So when they dropped the teaser, it's like everyone was like, okay, this is going to be the new City Connects. Instead, it's just new alternate road uniforms with a powder blue top. So basically, it is the same as the gray road uniforms, except like the whole same design, same lettering, everything, except instead of gray, it's just now powder blue. The pants are still gray, but the jersey top is powder blue. Now look, I love the powder blue look. I think it's great, but just throwing it on the gray uniform design, I think was pretty mediocre. I mean, I didn't think it was much of anything special. It was kind of quite a bit of hype for it, but really, I mean, I think that left quite a bit to be desired. It's not new City Connects, so those may still yet be coming, but my goodness, I mean, if you want to put the powder blue pants along with it, then yeah, I think that's good. But just having the powder blues, just as another alternate on the road. So I mean, is this replacing the gray on the road? So then you have a powder blue and a navy blue for your road uniforms. Yeah, I think it could have been done so much better. I was expecting a little bit more than just changing the gray design and putting powder blue as the color. That was it. So I think that left a little bit to be desired with that new uniforms there. I think there's a lot more that they can do with the powder blue. I really like how they had it for the City Connects. And, I thought the front of the jersey, I thought the actual jersey itself for the City Connects were great. The hat, not so much. The 414 MKE pretzel thing, it was not good. But still, just going with kind of the same everything else except switching the gray top to a powder blue top. We got to be more creative than that. I mean, come on. But we'll see how that ends up playing out next year. Speaking of creativity, though, because you got to get creative here with MLB economics, because you got CBA coming up in a year that negotiations are going to be very tough for. But we have a proponent, we have a supporter of a salary cap, and it is from a very unlikely source in Dodgers manager Dave Roberts. I never thought I'd see this day. Because I've been a big supporter of bringing in the salary cap here lately, especially after seeing what the Dodgers did to the Brewers in the NLCS. It is just simply too difficult for a small market team like the Brewers to be able to compete for a World Series when you have the Dodgers who can throw out a $500 million payroll, where you have 3 Hall of Famers batting 1, 2, 3 in the order, all 3 of them that they just brought in just because what they could do financially. I mean, Ohtani, $700 million, deferring $680 million of it. Mookie Betts, because they were the ones that could sign him to a $360 million deal. Freddie Freeman, just because, like, hey, why not? The Braves are playing hardball with him, so we'll just throw a bunch of money at future Hall of Famer Freddie Freeman. So when you can stack 3 Hall of Famers and the Cy Young winners all in a row in your rotation, and one of them is basically the same guy in Ohtani, it's impossible. It's impossible for anyone else to truly compete with when those guys are put together. So you would imagine Dave Roberts, who made the comment after they won the NLCS that let's really ruin baseball with 4 more wins and win the World Series. And now he's like, hey, I think his salary cap might be okay, because he's looking at what the NBA does and their revenue share between the league and the players. But the NBA also has a salary floor that forces teams to spend, and that was kind of the crux of what Dave Roberts wanted as well, for the bottom feeding teams like the Rockies, like the Pirates, like the Rays, like the Athletics, so that those teams can spend more money. But he's in favor of a salary cap happening in order to make that happen. And I think generally in any sense, if you're going to get a salary cap in Major League Baseball, which is going to be very difficult and very bloody in order to get there, but if you're going to do it, a salary floor has to be implemented as well. There's very little chance that the players ever actually agree to a cap, but there's absolutely zero chance they agree to a cap without a floor. So there's no way that's going to happen without it. So fine, okay, put in a salary floor. I don't care, fine by me. But Dave Roberts being a supporter and joining the side of the people that want a salary cap to get some competitive balance here in the league when the Dodgers have been one of the worst offenders and one of the biggest reasons why there's this push for a salary cap now. It's incredible. It's not something I thought I'd see. I would figure that everyone with that Dodgers organization would be completely against a salary cap being put in place, but Dave Roberts is for it. So I'm excited to see it. The more people are welcome to the cause, the better. The more people we have, the better. And maybe we'll see this momentum push. Now, again, it's going to be a bloody fight in order to get there, but it could be the thing that ultimately ends up saving baseball from where it's headed with the competitive balance ruin that it's in. And the economics need to kind of be realigned, and that's always going to be difficult. But with the way the TV deals are lining up, the collapse of the regional sports networks, and how just the large markets are able to pour so much money into their teams, there needs to be economic realignment. When it comes to TV deals, when it comes to all this, and MLB is kind of lining all that up, and this is basically the perfect time to look to implement this. So we'll see if the players end up actually going for it. We'll see how long it takes to maybe get the players to go for it. But Dave Roberts is in the corner of those wanting a salary cap here on Major League Baseball. So I'm excited to see it, and we'll see if it ever ends up getting put in place. But that could certainly change how the Brewers operate going forward. But again, that's a bridge we'll have to cross when we get there, if we get there with Major League Baseball. So that'll do it for this Friday edition of Brewers Daily. And next week, when we talk again, we're going to be at the winter meetings, and we are going to have quite a bit to talk about. So we are hopefully going to have some good news, hopefully some transactions. That would be nice if the Brewers are able to get some stuff done at these winter meetings. But there's certainly going to be a ton of activity, a ton of rumors. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and I hope you join me on the journey as well. And get those notifications for those episodes next week. You are not going to want to miss them. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Brewers Daily so you can get all of those episodes showing up in your feed. So thank you again, and of course follow me on Twitter at dgasper24. Thank you for watching. This has been Brewers Daily.